Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, yesterday started this Are You Feminine test. All right, and we went through the first three talking points. And the first point was laziness. The second point was being argumentative for no reason. And the third point was promiscuity. All right. I say these things not to be insulting to men, but to just put into perspective what we're supposed to be as men. Now, you're not supposed to be lazy. That it just goes without saying. All right, we already know that you're not supposed to be lazy. That goes without saying. To be argumentative with no reason. All of these things are feminine. It's things that we expect women to do and women to be. So whatever we expect women to do and women to be is not what we're supposed to be as men, right? And even promiscuity. You know what I mean? For the guy who wrote me the email, let me say this. I'm not really talking to younger men. I'm not really talking to younger men, and the reason why is not because young men can't benefit from this, but the reason that I'm not talking to younger men is because I don't hold young men to the same level of responsibility that I hold the older men to. Now, when I was younger, I did all of the things that I'm mentioning on this list and some things that I haven't mentioned. I've done it all. So I expect young men to be young men. I don't expect a young man to be an older man. All right? So no slight against young men, because the majority of what young men do in their lives is experimental. They find out through the trial and error method. You know what I mean? I'm talking about those of you who are old enough to know better. All right? That's who I'm speaking to. I'm not really speaking to young men. No slight against young men. Young men, keep doing you. You'll get there eventually. We'll get to this place, right? All right. But to go on to the next talking point, it's 2 in 1. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, point number 4. Are you disingenuous to friends? Or, to reiterate it a different way, are you a confidant to no one? A confidant to no one. Now, what I mean by that is that, well, let me say this. T.D. Jakes gave a great sermon on comrades, constituents, and confidants. He just put it so perfectly. I can't do it as perfect as him, but he did it so perfectly. But what he said was that a constituent is a person who's for what you're for, and a comrade is a person who's against what you're against. And a confidant is for you. There's somebody who ride or die with you through thick or thin. There's somebody who will risk your friendship to tell you the truth, and that's what a confidant is. Now, some of these men moving around, now we know, first of all, as men, we cannot be confidants to everybody. We can't be friends with everybody. It's just not possible. So most people we keep as associates or business partners or whatever. But are you a confidant to no one? Now, some of these guys out here will never have one freaking genuine moment. You got to be 100 with somebody. You got to keep it real with somebody, all right, to let somebody know. Because if you're not going to let anybody know what's really going on with you, then how do you ever expect to get help, or how do you ever expect to get advice, or how do you ever expect to get any of these things? Now, men who are confidant to no one, who are disingenuous with all their friends, they just put on the ego show, these guys are the guys that are just looking for somebody to use. All right, that's why they dick ride anybody who they feel like got a whole lot, or somebody who they feel like they can take them to the next level, and before you know it, they'll disappear on you, and now you ain't their friend no more. Now you got another friend. You can know these people for years, but this disingenuous thing. All right, now we know that as men, we can't walk around being transparent and just exposing everything we feel. We can't do that, because even that is a violation of man rules. But to have not one person in your life that you keep it 100 with. You ain't got one person in your life that you keep it a grand, you keep it a rack with. Not one person. Then how do you ever improve? How do you ever get any better? Unless you feel like you've already reached the pinnacle of life as a man. And I don't know any man who's reached the pinnacle of life, not myself or anybody else. I don't know anybody like that. So if you don't have anybody as a confidant, that means you're disingenuous. You don't have one confidant in your life, and one person that you can share what's going on with you, or share your innermost secrets with, or whatever the case may be. If you don't have even one, you are a disingenuous person, and all of your relationships are pretty much disingenuous and paper thin. So as men, what we are required to do is we are required to be tactful, even with confidants, to be tactful with your confidant, even when you're giving your confidant truth or giving him advice, or he's giving you advice, or whatever the case may be. I would suggest that you use tact. Be careful of his ego, to kind of watch it, right? But some men will never have one genuine moment, not one. Their whole life is based on faking and fronting and acting like everything is cool and like everything is all right, even when they're really suffering and really doing bad. That's a horrible way to be, because it can ultimately lead to depression. All right, to not have somebody that you can get some kind of healthy feedback from about your personal life, right? It's kind of important that we have these things, but a lot of men run around not having one genuine moment, not one. Not one genuine friend. So all of their relationships is based on usury, or what they can get from somebody, or what they can do with somebody, or what they can take from somebody. These are the disingenuous people. Now, the majority of men that you meet to some degree are like this, because confidants are very few. Comrades and constituents, there's oceans of them. Just like in doing this video series. All right, there's going to be some men that agree with me. Men are going to be with, okay, yeah, men do need to step it up, men need to do better, and this and that. Okay, that would be a constituent. And then somebody is going to go, yeah, because we sick of these bras and this and that, we ain't messing with no women, and yada, yada. That's a person who's against what I'm against, so we're comrades. But as far as a confidant, what I'm trying to do is be a confidant to you. To tell you the things that men won't tell you, whether they won't tell you or just don't know, I'm not sure. All right, but to try to tell you the things that are the unwritten rules of male behavior. All right, then I don't know if your father didn't tell you, if nobody told you, but I look around society and I don't see examples of any older man saying anything. All right, so that's what I'm trying to provide. All right, so are you disingenuous, and are you a confidant to no one, or do you not have a confidant? All right, that's one of the unwritten rules of male behavior, that we're supposed to have that, right? We kind of been robbed of that in this day and age, right? But with that comes this. Number 5. Are you more concerned with appearing a certain way than actually being a certain way? Are you more concerned with actually appearing to be a certain way than actually being a certain way? All right? This in itself is feminine. Okay, just like not having a confidant is feminine. Women don't really have confidants, right? If you ever watch them, women have women who validate what they feel, no matter how wrong they are or whatnot. They don't really have confidants, because if you tell a woman the truth, that's the first way for her to completely be upset with you and disconnect, right? So women don't really have confidants, but you have men who care more about appearing to be a certain way than actually being a certain way. All right. Now, what I mean is they would rather appear to be successful. These are men who kind of live their life through social media, posting up this picture, posting up that picture, posting up this, and trying to make it seem like they're a certain way when really they live a completely different way. Okay, we expect this of women. That's why I say it's feminine. We expect this of women, to try to appear to be more than what they are, or better than what they are, or whatnot, because women are always seeking validation. They're always seeking validation. But as a man, well, you could list this right up there with promiscuity. A man is not a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. That's not your basis nature. Your ego and insecurity. So men who constantly seek validation care more about appearing to be a certain way than actually being a certain way. And when it comes to their money, their parents, their car, their this. Now, to some degree, we're all guilty of this, and I am too. But at some point, we have to stop being so emotional with our money and stop trying to put on airs for everybody else. And what we should be focused on is actually improving, building up our savings, and being more stable and more stable and more stable, not to appear to be more than what you really are worth. All right? So the key point that I want you to take from this particular test is, 1, are you disingenuous to friends and are confident to no one and have no confidence? Number 2, are you more concerned with appearing to be a certain way than actually being a certain way? Now, all of these points that we've gone through these videos are related to females. We expect this of women. As men, we don't have anything in common with female behavior, with the way they work. We're not supposed to. I'm not saying that we don't feel on the inside, that we're not emotional, and that we don't teeter between extremes in our emotions. Of course we do. But as men, you're held to a certain behavior. All right? Are you a confidant? Can you be a confidant to someone? Or are you more concerned with appearing to be a certain way than actually being a certain way? It's very important stuff. I know some men already know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll be back in a second and I'll explain it a little bit further, and we'll go into the next 3 talking points. All right? All right. 1.